You have been holding on so tightly for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to simply let go. Not holding on to things, not to objects or possessions, but to outcomes, to the version of life you planned, to the way you believed things were supposed to look by now for your family, your health, your heart, the quiet hopes you have been carrying, some of them for decades. There is an exhaustion that comes from this, not the kind that sleep can fix, not the tiredness of a long day or a busy week. It is the deeper kind, the bone-tired weight of someone who has spent years making sure everything stays in place, who has watched and managed and adjusted and worried and planned, and then watched and managed and adjusted and worried again. Maybe you did it for the people you love. Maybe you did it because you were afraid. Maybe you learned early that if you didn't hold everything together, it would all fall apart. And so you held. You held, and you held, and you held. And still, life went its own way. Despite all that holding, despite all that managing, the river did not go where you pointed it. It went where it was always going to go. Today, I want to share something with you. 7 teachings from Buddhist wisdom, not doctrine, not philosophy, not something you need to study or memorize, just 7 quiet truths, older than any self-help book, that speak directly to this. What happens when you stop fighting the current and finally let life show you the way? Stay until teaching number 4. What you hear there may give you back something you have not felt in a very long time, the permission to stop gripping, to set down a weight you did not even realize you were carrying. But first, take a breath. You do not need to figure anything out right now. You do not need to solve anything, or decide anything, or prepare for what comes next. Just breathe, and let these words find you where you are. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and ring the bell, so these conversations can keep finding you whenever you need them most. There is a reason you hold on so tightly, and it has nothing to do with your personality or your stubbornness or some flaw in the way you were made. It has to do with what you lived through. Somewhere along the way, perhaps early, perhaps in a moment of loss or instability, you learned that the world did not always hold, that things could fall apart when you were not watching, that people could leave, that safety was not guaranteed. And so you began to watch, you began to plan, you began to hold everything together with your bare hands because someone had to, and you were the one who knew how. That vigilance was wisdom once. It protected you. It protected the people you loved. But what kept you safe then may be exhausting you now. The river has not stopped flowing. You have simply been standing in the middle of it, arms stretched wide, trying to hold the water still. Buddhism does not ask you to stop caring. It asks you to consider what if the river already knows where it is going. Teaching 1. The river does not need your help. You cannot push a river, and the life that is waiting for you, the peace, the ease, the quiet arrival of what you have been hoping for, cannot be forced into coming on your schedule. Think of how much of your life has been spent in effort, not the clean effort of working towards something you love, but the grinding, anxious effort of trying to make things go a certain way, of managing outcomes, of preventing disasters that hadn't happened yet, of keeping people happy, keeping situations under control, keeping the future from surprising you. How much energy has that taken? Not just your mental energy, but your presence. How many dinners did you sit through with your mind, 3 conversations ahead? How many mornings did you wake up already, calculating what needed to happen that day, that week, that month? When did you last sit somewhere beautiful and simply be there, not solving, not planning, not managing, just there? The Buddha taught that suffering does not arise from what happens to us. It arises from our resistance to what happens, from the desperate, exhausting grip we keep on outcomes we cannot control. The river of life has its own current, its own timing, its own direction, and every moment we spend trying to redirect it is a moment we are not actually living in it. Imagine two people standing in a river. The first one fights the current. She turns against it, arms churning, trying to push the water back, trying to make it go another way. She works harder than anyone. She is completely devoted, and she is completely exhausted. And the river goes exactly where it was always going. The second person turns with the current. She does not collapse into it. She still uses her arms. She still guides herself. She still makes choices. But she moves with the water instead of against it. She travels further in the same amount of time with a fraction of the effort. And she arrives not breathless and defeated, but present, alive, still herself. Which one have you been? And perhaps more importantly, which one do you want to be, for whatever time stretches out ahead of you? Because here is what I want you to hear clearly. Flowing with the current does not mean you stop acting. It does not mean you become passive or that you stop caring about where you end up. The person who flows with the river still uses her arms. She still makes choices. She still steers toward what matters. She simply does it without the exhausting, grinding war against the water itself. The Buddhist tradition speaks of right effort, the kind of effort that is aligned with the nature of things, that moves with the grain of life rather than against it. Not less effort, not no effort, but effort that does not leave you hollow at the end of the day. Effort that feels, on the good days, almost like ease. The invitation here is not to stop caring. It is something much more subtle than that and much harder to practice. It is to notice today, just once, where you are pushing against something that is not moving, not to fix it, not to surrender to it, just to notice it, to feel the grip in your hands and ask yourself what would happen if, just for this moment, I set it down. The river has been flowing long before you arrived. It will find its way to the sea. The only question is whether you will spend what time you have fighting it, or whether you will finally, gently, let it carry you. Teaching. 2. What you chase retreats. There is a certain kind of love for a person, for an outcome, for a version of life that the tighter you hold it, the faster it slips through your fingers. You may have felt this. The relationship you tried to hold together with both hands, only to feel it pulling away. The opportunity you pursued so urgently, so desperately, that the desperation itself seemed to seal its absence. The peace of mind you chased through plans and preparations, and the more you chased, the more elusive it became. This is not coincidence. This is one of the quietest teachings of the Buddha, and one of the hardest to accept, that the desperate grip, not the wanting itself, but the desperate, white-knuckled grip, is one of the primary roots of human suffering. Buddhism has a word for it: upadana, clinging, not the natural desire to have good things in your life, not the beautiful longing for love or connection or meaning, but the particular suffering of needing something so completely that you cannot be at peace without it. Think of a butterfly. If you run after it, it will fly away. Faster you run, farther it goes. But if you sit very still in the garden, if you stop chasing, stop reaching, stop frightening it with the urgency of your need, something changes. The afternoon quiets around you, and the butterfly comes and rests on your shoulder, not because you earned it, not because you were patient enough or deserving enough, simply because you finally stopped driving it away. What in your life has been retreating from your reaching? What have you been pursuing with such urgency that the pursuit itself has been the obstacle? Perhaps it is rest. Perhaps it is a relationship. Perhaps it is that sense of peace you have been trying to manufacture through busyness and control and forward motion. Perhaps it is something you have been waiting for so long that the waiting itself has become a kind of wound. This teaching asks something small of you, Choose one thing, just one that you have been chasing with urgency. And for the next week, keep showing up for it. Keep doing the work. But release the desperate grip on the outcome. Let your hands be open, not empty. Open. What is meant for you does not need to be caught. It needs to be welcomed. And you can only welcome something when your hands have finally stopped gripping. Teaching 3. What takes time is not late, it is becoming. We live in a world that has forgotten how to wait. Everything arrives instantly. Now the message, the answer, the order at the door. And when something does not arrive instantly, we assume something is wrong, that we are doing it incorrectly, that life is punishing us, that perhaps we do not deserve what we are asking for. At 50 or 60 or 70, waiting feels different than it did at 30. Time has a different weight. You can feel it in a way you couldn't before, not as an abstract concept, but as something real and present. And the question behind every waiting is no longer just when, but will I still have time when it arrives to enjoy it fully? I want you to sit with something. The Buddha did not find what he was seeking on his first day. He did not find it in his first year. He left his family, his comfort, everything that was familiar. He tried extreme methods. He sat with teachers and surpassed them, and still felt the answer was somewhere beyond his reach. By every external measure, he looked like a man who had failed, who had given up everything and received nothing in return. And then one night underneath a tree, in the middle of an ordinary night, he stopped forcing. He simply sat. And everything he had been reaching for arrived, not because he finally pushed hard enough, but because he became still enough to receive it. A diamond is not made quickly. It is formed under pressure, in darkness, over immeasurable time. And when it finally emerges, it is not late. It is exactly what the process made it. Nothing could have rushed it. Nothing could have forced it into being before its time. You are not behind. You have not missed your window. The things in your life that have taken longer than you expected, longer than felt fair, longer than felt bearable, they are not punishments. They are not evidence of your unworthiness. They are becoming. This is a shift in language that sounds simple and is actually profound. Because when we say something is late, we are making a judgment. We are saying it should already be here, that something has gone wrong, that we are behind. And that judgment, which feels like a fact, is actually just a story. A story your mind invented based on a timeline that the river never agreed to. When we say instead that something is becoming, we are recognizing a different truth. That preparation takes the time it takes, that growth moves at its own pace, that the things worth having in this life are rarely delivered on the schedule we drew up for them. Think of the seasons. Spring does not arrive because you need it to. It arrives when the conditions have been met, when enough darkness has passed, when the ground has been ready long enough. You cannot rush it by wanting it more urgently. You cannot shame it into arriving sooner. You can only keep living through winter, trusting that the cold is doing its necessary work. You have already lived through winters you were sure would never end, and every single one of them ended. There is a practice you can try tomorrow morning. Write down one thing you have been waiting for, with impatience, one thing whose slowness has felt like a verdict against you, and underneath it, write these words: "This is not late. This is becoming." Put it somewhere you will see it when you wake. What has not yet arrived is not lost. It is still on its way to you, moving through its own necessary darkness, taking the shape that only time and patience can make. Teaching 4. The Farmer and the Rain. There is a kind of waiting that becomes its own prison. And there is a kind of trust, quieter, more difficult, that keeps living, keeps tending, keeps showing up, even before the answer comes. I want to tell you a story. Listen slowly. A farmer lived in a valley that had not seen rain in many months. His fields were cracking at the edges. His animals were thin. Every morning he rose before dawn, climbed the long hill behind his village, and called out to the sky, "Please, send rain. I cannot survive without it." But the rain did not come. Days passed, then weeks. The farmer climbed the hill each morning, his voice growing more ragged, more desperate. And each day he returned to his farmhouse and sat at the door, staring at the dry earth. Because what was the point, he thought, of working the fields if the rain would not come? What was the point of planting seeds that had no water? He would wait. He would call to the sky. And when the rain finally arrived, then he would begin to live again. One afternoon, a traveling monk passed through the valley. He found the farmer sitting at his door, hollow-eyed, staring at his abandoned fields. "What do you wait for?" the monk asked. "Rain," the farmer said. "I have been asking the sky for months. It does not listen." The monk looked at the cracked earth, at the untended irrigation channels, at the seeds still sitting in their sacks inside the doorway. Then he looked at the farmer. "While you have been speaking to the sky," the monk said gently, "who has been tending the earth?" The farmer looked at his abandoned fields, at the channels he had not cleared, so that even the small water that came in the night had run off and been lost, at the seeds he had not planted because he was saving them for perfect conditions that never arrived, at the neighbors who had come and offered help that he had not accepted because first he needed the rain, and then everything else could begin. He had been so consumed with what was not in his hands that he had let go of what was. The monk sat beside him on the step. "The rain will come when it comes," he said. "You cannot command the sky. But the earth is yours. You can tend it. You can clear the channels so that every drop of water that comes, however small, can be received. You can plant what you have and trust that growth begins in the dark before you can see it. You can care for what is already in your hands while you wait for what is not yet here." "The rain is coming," the monk said, "but when it arrives, will your fields be ready?" I want to pause here for just a moment, because this story stopped me the first time I really sat with it. I have spent seasons of my own life waiting for rain, waiting for conditions to be right before I let myself fully live. I am still learning to tend the earth, and if that resonates with you at all, you are not alone in it. Now think about your own valley. What rain have you been waiting for? A healing that hasn't come yet, a reconciliation, a sense of purpose that feels just out of reach, a feeling of peace that you keep expecting to arrive when enough things finally fall into place. And while you have been waiting, what have you let go untended? The relationships that are here now, asking for your presence, the small joys that pass unnoticed because you are saving your real living for when conditions improve, the channels of your own heart that have gone dry from waiting. The invitation of this teaching is not to stop wanting the rain. The rain matters, your longing matters, but the invitation is to come back down the hill, to tend what is yours to tend, to live the life that is already here, imperfect, incomplete, and absolutely real, so that when the rain finally comes, you have something ready to receive it. This is what Buddhist wisdom calls trust, not a passive leaning back and hoping, but an active, faithful, daily returning to the work of your own living, moving forward without all the answers, planting seeds you cannot yet see, clearing channels for water that has not yet come. The rain is coming, but your fields need you now. Come back down the hill. Teaching 5. What did not happen was also a gift. Some of the most important things the river ever gave you were the places it did not take you. Think of the things that didn't work, the relationships that ended, The doors that would not open no matter how long you stood at them, knocking. The version of life you planned and prepared for and moved toward, and that quietly, without drama, became impossible. How much grief has lived in those closed doors? How much of your energy has been spent mourning not just what was lost, but what never came at all? The Buddha taught that we see life through a very small window. From where we stand, we can see what is directly in front of us, the closed door, the absence, the thing we wanted and did not receive. But life sees the whole horizon. It sees what comes after, what waits around the corner, what roads exist that you have not yet found because the first road is still blocking your view. You have lived long enough to have evidence of this. Can you remember a time when something you desperately wanted did not come, and later, standing somewhere you could not have anticipated, you understood why? A relationship that ended and eventually returned you to yourself. A path that closed and redirected you somewhere you never would have found on your own. A loss that cracked something open, and through that crack, something new eventually came. You have been here before. The river has taken you places you did not choose, through seasons you did not want, and some of them, some of the ones that hurt the most, became the most important passages of your life. This does not mean every closed door leads somewhere wonderful. It does not mean loss is not real, or that grief is not earned. It simply means that the window you are looking through is very small, and what you cannot see from here is not nothing. The next time something does not come, the next time a door closes, or an answer doesn't arrive, or a hope quietly fails, try to hold this question somewhere in the back of your mind, not urgently, just gently. What if this is not punishment? What if the river is simply going a different way, one I cannot see from here, but one that already knows my name? The closed doors were not rejection, they were navigation. The river knew something you didn't yet. It still does. Teaching 6 Silence is where the river speaks. The river has always been trying to show you the way, but you have to be quiet enough to hear it. This is not easy in the world we live in. We have become afraid of silence in a way that would have been unrecognizable to people 100 years ago. Every quiet moment is filled almost instantly. The phone, the television, the news, the next task on the list, the conversation in your head that replays itself without permission. And for many of us, for women especially, who were taught that stillness was laziness, that rest was something you earned at the end of everything else. The silence carries a particular anxiety, like something might catch up with you if you stop moving long enough to let it. But here is what the Buddhist tradition has understood for 2,500 years. Silence is not empty. It is full. It is full of information the noise covers, full of knowing that the busyness drowns, full of the quiet voice of your own life, which has been trying to reach you, which speaks gently, patiently, persistently in the space between one thought and the next. Think of the most trustworthy decisions you have made in your life, the ones that, looking back, were clearly right. Where did they come from? Probably not from a spreadsheet, probably not from the middle of a crisis or the peak of an argument. They came from the quiet morning, from the long walk where you weren't trying to solve anything, from the moment just before sleep, when the grip of the day finally loosened and something true rose to the surface. That was not accident. That was the river speaking. And you were, in that moment, still enough to hear it. This is available to you, not as a luxury, not as something you will do someday when things slow down, but tomorrow morning, before the phone, before the news, before the list of everything that needs to happen. 5 minutes, just 5. Sit somewhere quiet, near a window if you can. Do not solve anything. Do not plan anything. Do not try to feel peaceful. Just let yourself be exactly as you are, in exactly this moment, without agenda. You are not doing this wrong if your mind wanders. You are doing it exactly right if you simply keep returning. In those 5 minutes, you are not accomplishing nothing. You are doing something radical, something countercultural, something that the whole rushing world around you will try to convince you is wasteful. You are creating the conditions in which the river can speak. You are clearing a channel that has perhaps been clogged for years. Some mornings nothing comes. That is all right. The farmer does not expect the crop to grow the same day he clears the channel. He clears it, and he waits, and he trusts. And over time, sometimes slowly, sometimes with surprising speed, things begin to move. The farmer comes back down the hill and sits quietly in his field, not demanding, not waiting with clenched fists, just present, listening, ready to receive whatever comes. The river has been speaking to you your whole life. You are not too late to start listening. Teaching 7. You have always known how to trust. You have lived through things that should have broken you. Losses that felt unsurvivable. Seasons that lasted so long you were certain spring had forgotten to come. Mornings you didn't know how you would get through the day, and then you got through the day. And then the next one, and then the next. You are still here, and that is not a small thing. That is everything. At this stage of life, you carry something that younger people simply do not have access to yet. You have evidence, real, lived, embodied evidence that the river does not abandon you in the difficult places, that the current, even when it feels overwhelming, even when it takes you somewhere you did not choose, eventually brings you through. You have been trusting the river your whole life. Perhaps without knowing it was called trust. Perhaps without recognizing that the act of surviving, of continuing, of getting up one more time, that this was itself a form of profound faith. The Buddha sat underneath a tree on an ordinary night, in the middle of years of searching and failing and continuing anyway. And when the answer finally came, it did not come because he finally found the right technique or the right teacher or forced himself hard enough. It came because he stopped fighting. He became still, and what had been there all along, underneath all the striving, finally had room to rise. He did not need to build the understanding from nothing. He needed to get quiet enough to receive what was already there. Think of a tree in a storm. It does not grip the earth in fear. Its roots go deep, not to hold the ground in place, but to hold itself in place while the storm passes. The branches move, sometimes violently. The whole tree bends in ways that look frightening from the outside, but the roots hold, and when the storm is over, the tree is still standing, and the roots are deeper than they were before. You are that tree. Every storm you have lived through drove your roots deeper. Every season of waiting made you more capable of receiving. Every closed door turned you toward a path you needed. Ask yourself this. What season in your life lasted so long you were certain it would never end, and then ended? What loss, at the time, felt like the end of your story and turned out to be a turning point? What version of yourself, standing 5 or 10 years ago, could not have imagined that she would arrive at this moment, still here, still reaching, still capable of sitting quietly and listening for the river? You do not need to learn to trust from the beginning. You only need to remember you already have. Trust is not naive. At this stage of life, trust is one of the most sophisticated things a person can practice. It is built not from wishful thinking, but from evidence. From every season survived, from every morning that came after the long night, from every time the river carried you somewhere you could not have found on your own. And here is what I want you to hear very clearly, because it is perhaps the most important thing in all 7 of these teachings. You do not need to manufacture trust from nothing. You do not need to force yourself to believe something that feels impossible right now. You simply need to look back with honesty, with the long view that only someone who has lived as many seasons as you have can hold and let the evidence speak. The seasons ended. The nights eventually gave way to morning. The things you thought would break you did not break you. They deepened you. They made you someone who can sit here now, in this moment, and hear these words and recognize them as true, because somewhere inside you, you have always known them. The river did not abandon you in the difficult places. It carried you through them. It is carrying you still. Let it. Today you walked with 7 understandings that are older than any method, any system, any self-help book ever written. Wisdom that has been sitting patiently for 2,500 years, waiting for exactly this moment for you to be still enough to receive it. You learned that you cannot push the river, that the desperate grip drives away what you most want to welcome, that what feels late is often simply becoming, that the fields of your daily life need your presence, even while you wait for rain, that what did not come may have been the river's own form of protection, that silence is not emptiness but fullness, the place where the river finally gets to speak, and that you have already, in every season you have survived, been trusting the current. Even when you did not know that was what you were doing. There is only one thing left now. Not a task, not a resolution, not something you need to get right or do perfectly, just a small, quiet turning toward the river instead of against it. Today, not when everything settles, not when the answer arrives, not when every person you love is okay and every worry is resolved. Today, with one moment of stillness, one released grip, one breath taken without agenda. Let the river show you the way. It has always known where you are going. If something in these words found you today, I would love to know. Tell me in the comments, what is one thing you have been pushing against that might be ready to be released? Or simply tell me which teaching stopped you. Your words may be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If you are not yet walking with this community, subscribe and come back whenever the current feels too fast and you need somewhere quiet to rest. Until we meet again. You have been carried before. You are being carried now. Trust the current. It knows the way home.